You've ever spent 20 minutes deciding which series to watch and ended up watching nothing? Or got paralyzed choosing between two practically identical coffees? It seems absurd, but your brain is doing exactly what it was programmed to do millions of years ago, and that programming is completely outdated. Our ancestors lived in small groups where every decision could be a matter of life or death. Choosing the wrong hunting path meant coming back empty-handed while your family starved. Trusting the wrong person could result in betrayal, theft, or death. Even deciding where to sleep was critical, an exposed location meant becoming prey. The brain evolved to be extremely cautious, analyzing each option obsessively, because the margin for error was zero. But here's the detail almost nobody notices: this deep analysis system worked perfectly when options were limited. You had 3 hunting grounds, 5 people in the tribe to trust, 2 types of shelter available. The brain could examine each one carefully because there weren't hundreds of alternatives competing for attention. Now imagine transporting that same brain to a modern supermarket. You walk in and see 300 types of cereal. Your ancestral brain panics. It starts analyzing each box as if it were a survival decision. Which has more protein? Which will make you stronger? Which did your competitors choose? Which will impress your group? Your decision-making system, which evolved for environments of scarcity, is now confronted with infinite abundance. And it doesn't know how to handle it. What makes this even stranger is that your brain can't turn off this deep analysis mode. It can't say, "This doesn't matter, just pick one." Because for an ancestral brain, everything mattered. Every decision had weight. So when you're choosing between 2 practically identical messaging apps, your brain is activating the same neural circuits it would use to choose between 2 hunting territories. Researchers discovered something fascinating about this. When people are presented with a moderate number of options, say, 6, they make choices quickly and feel satisfied. But when the number rises to 20, 30, or 100 options, something shifts. People don't become happier. Actually, they become less happy. They spend more time deciding, feel more regret afterward, and often don't choose anything at all. It's as if the brain simply gives up. And here's where the past starts showing up inside modern life very clearly. Your ancestors had a good enough mechanism. When they found an option that met the basic criteria for survival, they took it. There was no time for infinite analysis. But you were raised in a world where good enough is considered failure. You were taught to optimize, to find the best option, to not settle for less. So when you're choosing a movie to watch, your ancestral brain just wants decent entertainment. But your modern mind wants the best possible experience. It wants the film that will be most memorable, most relevant, most aligned with your specific taste. It wants the perfect choice. And that combination, cautious ancestral brain meeting modern perfectionism, creates paralysis. The most surprising part comes now. Studies show that people who make quick decisions about trivial things are actually happier. Not because the decision was better, but because they saved mental energy. Your brain has a limited amount of fuel for making decisions each day. Every choice, even small ones, uses up some of that energy. When you spend 20 minutes deciding which series to watch, you're leaving less energy for decisions that actually matter. Your ancestors understood this intuitively. They had rituals, routines, habits. Not because they were boring, but because they reduced the number of decisions they needed to make. You woke up, did the same thing you did yesterday, because that freed up mental energy to deal with real threats, predators, weather, social conflicts. But you live in a world that celebrates choice. You have freedom to choose everything. What to wear, what to eat, what career to follow, what person to love, what city to live in, what religion to practice, what values to defend. That freedom is real and valuable. But it's also exhausting. Because your brain didn't evolve to process this amount of freedom. What makes this even more complicated is that you were taught that more options is always better. That having choice is privilege. And it's true. But there's an invisible cost. The more options you have, the more you regret the choice you made. Because there's always the possibility that the other option would have been better. Your ancestors didn't have this problem. They chose the only path available and that was it. No regret, because there was no alternative. So when you spend 30 minutes choosing which color shirt to buy, you're not being indecisive. You're being human. Your brain is doing exactly what it was programmed to do: analyze each option deeply, consider consequences, think about how it will affect your social status, your security, your belonging to the group. The detail almost nobody notices is that the solution isn't trying to think faster. It's not willpower. It's recognizing that your brain is operating in an environment completely different from the one it was designed for. And then creating systems that reduce the number of decisions you need to make. Your ancestors did this naturally. You can too. Choose a uniform. Eat the same thing for breakfast. Have a routine. Not because you're boring. But because you're freeing your brain to do what it really does well: solve complex problems, create, connect with other people, deal with real threats. And maybe, just maybe, you'll finally choose a series and actually watch it.